The images from the Rio Grande Valley speak for themselves. Thousands of people from Central America, many of them unaccompanied children, have been crossing into the U.S. illegally through Mexico for months. The stories they share describe the dangerous trip and the conditions that they've left behind. And the sheer number who have flooded South Texas has required a massive humanitarian response. Helping lead the way has been the Texas Catholic Conference, and Jeffrey Patterson is the conference's executive director, and he joins us now. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Let's find out what the situation is based on your response. First of all, how did the conference get involved in coordinating a lot of this response?
Well, having unaccompanied minors coming into the country is not new. Catholic Charities in lots of places across the state of Texas have contracts with the federal government to provide housing services for these children when they come in until they can be reunited with their families. What's new is the fact that we're seeing this huge influx of these new children, and to be able to take care of that, Catholic Charities have seen the problem and really kind of expanded the amount of effort that has to be done to meet these services. Catholic Charities work in each of the dioceses, and so the Texas Catholic Conference, under the direction of the Catholic bishops, said we need to do a better job of coordinating among dioceses, but also in coordinating our responses for the needs of these families, these women, these children, with the federal agencies that are involved. So we got together, we called FEMA, we called the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and we said, how can we work better to make sure that we're providing the services that these families need?
Yeah, because it would be very difficult with so many different groups wanting to help. We even heard that from the president, thanking all of these groups, that they do need to be coordinated to make a difference. What is, based on the sheer numbers that we're seeing now there in South Texas, what are the immediate needs of these families and these children?
Well, one of the first things we need to do is we need to be able to track them. We need to, once they come in through the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they get processed and then they're moved to across the state to different places, either for reunification centers, or if they have family members, they go and stay with them until their cases can be understood. So at that point, we need to be able to provide them with some food, water, clothing, medical supplies, medical attention. Christus Healthcare Center, which is a Catholic healthcare center, has recently volunteered to provide medical care for these folks. But it's tracking these people that once they come across the border and where they go within the rest of the state is most important to us, so we make sure that they're getting the services that they need.
The president talked about the $3.7 billion supplemental that he would like Congress to pass, and he said half of that money would be going towards border security, but the other half, among other things, would be to deal with the influx of children there. This has got to be expensive for those faith-based groups and the nonprofit groups. Do you hope that some of that money flows into these organizations?
Well, what we're really hopeful for is that in most of the situations in which we were providing services for unaccompanied children, we were talking about facilities that had 32 beds, had 60 beds in Houston or Fort Worth or Dallas. But with these numbers coming in, that money really should be used to expand the amount of beds and expand the amount of facilities that we could be able to provide for those kids. And in doing that, that money would come to Catholic Charities because of the contracts we have with the federal government, which is good, but really making sure that that money gets to where it needs to be, which is in the services to those kids and those families. That's the most important thing for us.
The president talked about his conversation with Governor Perry, and among the issues that Governor Perry would like to be addressed is just the wait time, right? The amount of time to have these children and these families, specifically from Central America, that don't get immediately deported, to maybe make things a little bit faster. In that area, is there anything that you all are dealing with? I mean, for example, attorneys for these individuals?
Absolutely. We've put out a call to a lot of different organizations, particularly through the Catholic Church, finding legal attorneys who have some experience in immigration law that'll be able to help these kids and these families make their appeals for the asylum process and to help them through. Immigration law is very complicated, and when you have people who've come to this country with nothing but the clothes on their backs and they're looking to find some kind of asylum, being able to provide that appropriate level of service and help is extremely important. So we are continually looking for people that will be able to come and help process those cases to get them moved through as quickly as possible. Some of these families will stay, some of these children will stay based on the circumstances, lots will be deported. But the most important thing is that we do this in an orderly, compassionate fashion, that we're able to take care of these people as they come through.
We're almost out of time, but have you heard from church leaders in Central America what's going on there that's prompting this mass exodus, if you will?
Well, church leaders and none of the violence, none of the suffering, none of the crime, the corruption that's been going on there is new to them. What their argument is, or argument to us is a lot more compassion on the part of the United States, and then also assistance, which I think is part of what President Obama talked about, is getting at the root causes of what's forcing the push factors that are bringing these people to this country. I heard someone talking today about, when you make $8 an hour here in salary, but you're making $8 a week down in Central America, or you're forced to start to be a part of one of these gangs. The fact that you come to the United States and may be deported again is the least problematic option. And so having that option removed from down there would be the best.
Okay, Jeffrey Patterson is the Executive Director for the Texas Catholic Conference. Thanks very much for being with us, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yep. And it is official. San Antonio needs a new mayor as the Senate confirms Julian Castro as HUD Secretary. We'll have a report on the mayor's reaction to the news. Then the Quorum Report's Harvey Kronberg will join us on what's turned into a busy Wednesday in state politics.